3 months ago, I decided to invest £5 a day into the stock market. Then things got ugly. War, oil prices, inflation, stock prices started falling, including the ones in my portfolio. So in this video, I'm going to show you firsthand exactly what happened after I invested £5 a day for the first 3 months of 2026. How global events affected my portfolio, what my returns actually look like, and whether investing in a difficult market is even a good idea. Let's get into it. Now, if you watched my previous £5 a day video, you'll know I wanted to prove something very simple. You don't need hundreds or thousands of pounds to start investing. Most people think investing only really matters when you're sitting on a pile of cash. But £5 a day is the price of a coffee or a meal deal, I think. And over time, small amounts can become something meaningful. In this experiment, I continue to invest £5 a day into the stock market using Trading 212. I kept things nice and simple, using a global ETF to give myself as much exposure as possible. I'm talking strictly equities here. You won't be seeing any bonds or commodities in my portfolio. I'm just leaning on consistency and time to do most of the heavy lifting. This quarter was very different to the last one at the end of 2025, because when I first started this challenge, the market environment was very positive. People were expecting interest rates to come down, inflation looked like it was finally under control, and after a strong 2025, people were optimistic about 2026. And at the beginning of January, things looked pretty good. Markets went at all-time highs, and there was a growing hope that the Bank of England and the Federal Reserve were going to cut interest rates later in the year. And when interest rates come down, that's generally seen as a good thing for stocks. Borrowing money becomes cheaper, so that's more money that they can reinvest into the business or spend. And of course, that means more disposable income for the public. So naturally, markets started the year fairly strong. On screen, you can see markets were steadily climbing for the first few weeks, and things were nice and steady in my portfolio too. But that smooth start didn't last, because as January went on, things started to change very quickly. Geopolitical tensions started building across multiple parts of the world. Venezuela, the Middle East, oil supply, tariffs, and growing tension between world leaders. And whenever uncertainty arises, markets don't appreciate it, because uncertainty means volatility, and volatility means heightened risk. Inflation fears were back, commodities were on the up, and suddenly people began worrying that maybe interest rates would stay higher for longer. That mood change was as clear as ever in the stock market. There was an immediate dip in mid-January and constant volatility to close out the month. My investment reflected this, and my rate of return was down by 1.3%. Now I know 1.3% isn't the end of the world, especially over a single month. But psychologically, it's quite interesting. If you're new to investing, it's easy to feel good when everything's going up, you look at your account and everything's in the green. The real test is how you react when things go the other way. If you're not careful, that's exactly how people buy high and sell low. Caution continued into February and markets became very sensitive. The threat of prolonged interest rates cast a shadow on future earnings, and that affected growth stocks, especially those in the tech sector. And that was despite some profitable earnings from notable companies. Nvidia, for example, posted profits of 43 billion. Huge growth, fueled primarily by data chips. And even that couldn't ease fears, with their share price fluctuating throughout the month. This, coupled with trepidation coming out of the Bank of England and the Federal Reserve regarding interest rates, kept an air of uncertainty around markets. Investors began realizing that those expected interest rate cuts might not come as quickly as first thought. But despite the volatility and uncertainty, the general trend was still upwards. You can see the ups and downs throughout the month, but things ended up at an all-time high. Going back to my portfolio, you can see that the rate of return gradually increasing throughout the month, with it peaking at 4.5%. At that point, I started thinking maybe the worst was over. All the talk around inflation and interest rates, maybe it was overblown. but the market had other ideas. March was no doubt the toughest month emotionally. Tension in the Middle East escalated further with full-out war being declared. That saw oil prices surge, which had a significant impact on energy prices. And energy prices affect most sectors, whether that's just running costs or overall profit. The hope was that this conflict will be short-lived, but as March played out, it quickly became apparent that it would have a lasting impact. Most global markets felt the pressure on their economy, and none more so than right here in the UK. In fact, it was specifically mentioned by the Bank of England committee that the UK is particularly sensitive to these price shocks. This is because we outsource a large amount of our oil and gas, so these price hikes in energy quickly hit our economy. Rates were once again held, but the sentiment had done a complete 180. The year started with the belief that interest rates would eventually come down, but now with the price of oil and energy at a premium, the forecast didn't rule out the possibility of rates actually being increased, especially if this conflict were to be prolonged. All of this meant that markets saw a significant drop once the impact of the war had been priced in. And I felt that personally. If we take a look at March in my portfolio, it wasn't pretty. And I ended the month being down 7.1%. So let's take stock. At the time of recording this video, we are well and truly in a market dip. The S&P 500, for example, is down 4.6% from the highs of January, and global markets are suffering from the same volatility. But rather than just leave you in the red, I want to focus on some key learning points, especially as we've seen a significant swing in a relatively short period of time. This may sound crazy, but in my opinion, 2026 has been a fantastic time to start investing. We've had the hope of continued growth and upward trends, and we've seen firsthand just how quickly sentiments can change. And the worst thing you can do when markets are down is panic. I know it sounds so easy and obvious to say, but trust me, logic doesn't always prevail. When you're actually in the heat of the moment, emotions can often be more powerful than logic. That's why sound people can still make irrational decisions. I'll let you know what has always strengthened my resolve when I start to feel uneasy, and it goes back to a study that has always stood out to me. JP Morgan illustrate that if you miss just the 10 best days in the stock market, your annualized return over a long period is almost cut in half. What's even more impactful is that the best days of market performance often comes just after the worst. So missing that bounce back could have a huge impact on your final pot. Of course, no one knows when that bounce back is going to be. That's why discipline is vital when the markets drop. Personally, I don't want my gains being cut in half, so best believe I'm going to stay invested. Another mindset shift I'd like you to consider is what investing during a market dip is actually doing. It's easy to see that £5 or that £500 instantly lose value the moment you invest it. But I'd like you to think of it as you're actually buying things on discount. If I were to pull out this notebook, for example, and I were to say, would you rather buy this for £10 or £8? I'm pretty sure most of you would say you'd rather buy it for £8, right? Well, it's the exact same thing with the stock market, especially if you're investing for the long term. Each day I invest £5 into the market during a downturn, I buy more shares than I did previously, but for the same price. And that adds to the accumulation I'm trying to achieve during this period. If anything, I want the market to stay down for longer. That way I can buy more shares at a cheaper price and then ride the wave once the market recovers. Of course, past performance is no guarantee of future results, but I'm pretty sure that we'll bounce back from this. So if you're someone that's been put off investing because you think you don't have enough money or you're waiting for the perfect time, this is your reminder that there is no perfect time. There will always be something negative in the news, another inflation scare, another market crash. But it's the people that act now that usually win in the long run. Finally, let's see what the current value of my portfolio looks like. we have a total value of £293.59p. That's a current loss of £11.38p. And like I said, we're down 7.1%. If I'm being completely honest, I'm optimistic, especially at the thought of buying cheaper shares. And I can't wait to check back in a few months to see how this pans out. I've got a feeling we're going to be in for a bit of a ride this year. Once again, nothing in this video is financial advice. This is just a demonstration showing my personal experience of investing £5 a day into the stock market. If you need any tailored advice, please speak to a professional. Now, if investing £5 a day isn't really your style, then check out this video where I invested £20,000 in a single day. And on that note, I'll catch you in the next one, guys.